Good morning, my name is Stephen Nolan, Managing Director of the UNDP Financial Centres for Sustainability Network of 39 financial centres around the world, including Dublin. Delighted to be Chair of Climate Finance Week 2022, and it's a real honour to be here with you today live from the AIB studio as part of Climate Finance Week 2022. This morning we're going to do a quick few minutes and give you an update on Ireland's Sustainable Finance Roadmap, which was launched by Minister Donoghue and Achim Steiner, UNDP Administrator, just a year ago. Developed as an output of the Ireland for Finance Strategy 2021, it was Action 1 of that strategy, and over 50 different entities were involved in developing the roadmap over an 8-month process. And development of the roadmap was supported by Skillnet Ireland, and you saw the UNDP FC Sustainable Finance Ireland, and I said 50 different entities, including all the main trade bodies and industry, come together under the guidance of the Department of Finance to develop this plan. So, just before we get into the detail, what was the plan? Well, the plan, launched last year, covers 5 pillars and 18 different activities. Those pillars are Pillar 1, Developing Talent, Pillar 2, Industry Readiness, Pillar 3, Leveraging Digital, Pillar 4, Enabling Environment, and Pillar 5, Promotion and Communications. And indeed, Pillar 5, Promotion and Communications, part of that, an output of that, is Climate Finance Week, and delighted to be here with you again 12 months on. So let's get into the detail behind the different pillars. Pillar 1, Developing Talent, and we were fortunate enough yesterday to have Minister Harris here in the studio with us. As the Minister of Further and Higher Education, Research, Science and Innovation, he was speaking to the importance of the talent agenda around the whole area of sustainable finance. And again, Minister Michael McGrath, in his budget statement to the Dáil a few weeks ago, highlighted funding support to upskill nearly 2,000 Irish-located professionals in the area of sustainable finance into next year. And so that's a key part of the work this last year, working with government to identify what needs to be done, and as Minister Harris said yesterday, allocating €1 million next year towards the support of the talent agenda under the Ireland for Finance Sustainable Finance Roadmap via the Sustainable Finance Skillnet, and as I said, supported by Skillnet Ireland. So to date, the Sustainable Finance Skillnet was established in March 2020. So far, 2 years, just over 2 years, 2.5 years later, over 2,500 people have been upskilled, Irish-located professionals in this space. We've seen a whole TCFD programme, which over 30 companies were involved in, which was completed this year. And we've had over 400 Irish-located professionals undertake the UN PRI Academy online programmes. And later on this week, we will see, in partnership with FSI Skillnet, the Compliance Institute, and delivered by the Institute of Bankers, the Sustainable Finance Skillnet will launch the world's first postgraduate diploma in sustainable finance for compliance professionals. So there's an entire working group under this pillar of the main trade bodies, chaired by Yvonne Holmes of AIB, all working together on this agenda, and as I said, quite significant. And this really is emerging as Ireland's USP, this focus on talent development, for it underpins the whole agenda within sustainable finance. If we look at Pillar 2, Industry Readiness, so again, I mentioned TCFD earlier on. Over 35 firms this year went through a whole TCFD programme. We're now looking at the whole area of biodiversity finance, and many of you may be seeing that come on your desk right now, and a programme will be developed around that. And that's the TNFD, which is the sister of the TCFD, so the Task Force on Nature-Related Financial Disclosures, which is in development right now. And I was fortunate enough to be on the informal working group that developed the TNFD last year. And then what we're also seeing within industry readiness, many of the firms around town are obviously signatories of the UN PRI, signatories of the UN EPFI Net Zero Insurance Alliance or Asset Management Alliance. And so a lot of the firms themselves are really working hard to be ensured that they're fulfilling the requirements to be part of these different global networks, and GFAN's been a key one. And again, being in AIB today, I know AIB are doing a lot in this space and doing it very, very successfully. So Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 are really kind of co-joined, development of talent to allow industry to get ready for the different activities happening, and very much in that involving regulatory framework and then the risk management framework. But as we move towards impact, as was highlighted by Minister Harris yesterday, development of new products and services to mobilise and scale capital further towards A, the delivery and support of Ireland's Climate Action Plan, B, the delivery and support for Ireland's Ireland for Finance strategy, and then C, delivery and support for Ireland's recently launched Climate Finance Development Strategy. So again, industry playing its role, and a lot happening led by industry under Pillar 2, and of course supported by their trade bodies. Pillar 3 is a really exciting one. A few weeks ago we saw Minister Fleming launch a revamped Ireland for Finance document, And obviously the Action Plan 2023 is currently in development. And what he was really highlighting during that launch is the conversions that he is seeing happening between sustainable finance and digital and fintech. So Pillar 3, leveraging digital, is an important one under the roadmap, and there's a significant opportunity in this space for Ireland, building on a very strong existing fintech base, but then obviously an emerging leadership in the whole area of sustainable finance. Later on today, I'm delighted to report that a sustainable finance fintech strategy will be launched here in the studio at 2:30 to 3:30, and there's been nearly 30 different firms involved in the development of this strategy under the Irish Sustainable Finance Roadmap as Action 10 in the last 6 months. Delighted that PwC were able to support that, and that's been developed in partnership between Sustainable Finance Ireland and the FinTech Payments Association of Ireland, supported by the UNDP FC4S. So that will go live later on today. There are several recommendations within that across talent, enabling environment, and so on. I'm really excited about that. I won't go into too much detail, as I said, because there's a specific panel on that later today. Enabling environment, Pillar 4. So delighted we have Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Ireland, Sharon Donaghy, on in a few minutes. And under her leadership, and led by the Governor as well, we saw the Central Bank of Ireland this year establish their Climate Forum. So again, I think there's over 20 different entities involved in that, several firms, the relevant trade bodies, and the observers are the Department of Finance, the NTMA, and Sustainable Finance Ireland. And they're beginning to look at different areas within, and that forum that they brought together, led by the Central Bank, is a very important one, and it's also mirroring best practice in other jurisdictions where the regulator is bringing these entities in, these key stakeholders, to work together on the climate action agenda. And obviously the Central Bank of Ireland is a member of both the Network for Greening the Financial System, of over 100 central banks working together on this agenda, and the UNDP Sustainable Insurance Forum, which I lead, which is a network of 37 insurance regulators that collectively oversee 92% of the global, or regulate 92% of the global insurance market. So a lot happening in the central bank. We see Yvonne McCarthy is leading out the climate action team there. It is being staffed up, quite excited about what is going to come down the pipe. And I think yesterday, as part of Climate Finance Week, yesterday afternoon, it was great that the central bank held and hosted a 3-hour masterclass for the insurance sector on the whole net zero agenda, and they are looking at guidance for the insurance sector on that in the coming months. We then pivot back to the Department of Finance. Obviously, the Irish roadmap, the Sustainable Finance Roadmap, was developed under the leadership of the department, and the department now has their Department of Finance Climate and Sustainable Finance Working Group has been established. I think there's over 20 different entities on that as well, under the leadership of the department, and again the relevant trade bodies and the key stakeholders all working together with the department on this agenda. So from a sustainable finance perspective, you've seen the Central Bank of Ireland come out with the Climate Forum and the Department of Finance and their working group, but obviously there's more going on around Dublin and town as you look at the Climate Action Plan and different departments. So again, really exciting to see the progress made under the enabling environment. And then finally, the NTMA coming out a few weeks ago to just again emphasise their support, their funding support, what they're doing in this area. And it's great to see that under Frank O'Connor's leadership, supported by JP Corkery, Mark Merrigan, and Emma Jane Joyce and Nick and others, what they're doing in this space. If you look at Pillar 5, what we just have here today is obviously Climate Finance Week is happening. Over 6,000 people have registered for Climate Finance Week this year, over 30 events, 90 different speakers. Quite exciting, and the programme continues to build, and thanks to all the supporters who are backing Climate Finance Week, with headline sponsor AIB, and then the other sponsors who are also supporting Climate Finance Week. As I said, in its 5th year, started 5 years ago with just 300 people, and quite staggering to see the numbers this year, which have already gone through. But it's not just about Climate Finance Week. We are seeing individual companies very much doing what they're doing and informing their stakeholders about their sustainable finance activities and their climate action activities. We're seeing the trade bodies, all under the different bodies, have relevant ESG or sustainable finance working group across data, whatever it may be. And we're also seeing the IDA gear up to go live with a campaign around Why Ireland for Sustainable Finance, and hopefully we'll see that in the coming months. So again, the roadmap under those 5 pillars really bringing together the different activities in this space. The last one, but not least, and we were delighted to do a soft launch of this yesterday, Action 1 of the Sustainable Finance Roadmap was the development of the International Sustainable Finance Centre of Excellence, which will lead on research, talent development and supporting innovation, not just in Ireland, but also in the Europe and hopefully wider afield. And that has been set up and supported by the UNDP Sustainable Finance Hub, the UNDP Financial Centres for Sustainability, the EU EIT Climate Kick, and then supported by Skillnet Ireland, and nearly 20 different Irish located companies have all come together to allow the soft launch to take place yesterday. And all credit must be given to Paul Healy and the team in Skillnet Ireland for backing that vision, and then obviously the support of the Department of Finance. So as I stress, a soft launch yesterday, fully operational early January, and in the coming months you will see a lot of work on the key elements of the operational side of the centre, governance and so forth, and all key stakeholders in the Irish market will be involved in that. So delighted to see that get away yesterday, and as Minister Donoghue said, the centre fits into the broader climate action goals, and all stakeholders, public and private, must play a part within the centre to deliver on our common ambitions but achievable targets. So, as I said, the centre was launched yesterday. Delighted to see Minister Fleming, now with Darrell Byrne in Euronext, ringing the bell with Tracy Donnery, one of the directors from Skillnet Ireland, and different partners. And what you will see in Q4 after COP27, which comes up in a few weeks, is you will see that the Sustainable Finance Roadmap Action Plan 2023 will be developed in partnership with key stakeholders. That will be launched next year. That will guide a lot of the work that's ongoing, including the piece around talent development, and that submission will go in shortly in the coming months. And then with the centre fully operational by mid-January, and as I said, working with key stakeholders on research, talent development and supporting innovation, and by that I mean product development, it's going to be quite an exciting time. So a lot has been achieved in the last 12 months. I want to commend the colleagues who've led out on the different elements of the roadmap, the different pillars, and then obviously the different stakeholders who've supported the activities and the achievement of the majority of those activities, of those 18 activities, that will be all achieved by the end of this year. So thank you very much. Thank you to all the key stakeholders. And as I finish, I just want to also come back to them because I've already mentioned them. Skillnet Ireland support for both the roadmap and the centre have now allowed Ireland to develop the roadmap, which is seen as an exemplar around the world. The Sustainable Finance Skillnet is seen as an exemplar around the world and what it is doing. It is the only platform globally that is supporting sustainable finance at the level that we're seeing right now in Ireland. And then obviously finally onto the centre. So thanks to Paul Healy and the guys within Skillnet Ireland for the support. And it was great, as I said, to see Minister Harris yesterday commit his support to the centre as well. So thank you very much.